What up YouTube, Doomnyc here with Deck of the Month for July 2011. This Deck of the Month is going to be counter agents. Decided to go with this build instead of, the Herald of Perfection agents because one, I don't like Herald of Perfection. I think it's way too slow for my playstyle. And I don't own any Christias, so obviously Christia's not in the deck, and you need Christia for the Herald of Perfection build, but for this build, you don't really need it that much. So I decided that this was the build I was gonna make, and so far it's been playtesting pretty good. Now, so let's get started with the deck. First off, we got two of these guys, Master Hyperion. I don't play 3 because I think 3 overcrowds it just a bit. There's been times playing this at 3 where I draw 2 of them first turn and they end up being really dead. So I decided to go with 2, and it turned out to be really consistent, so I decided to stick with this. Now, Master Hyperion. You guys should all know this guy's effect by now, because guess what? This guy is going to be really huge from this point on. 2700 attack. You can special summon him really easy by just removing from play one agent from your hand, field, or grave, and then you can remove a light fairy type monster to destroy one card your opponent controls. Now, if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, you can use that effect twice, which makes this guy essentially ridiculously good. That's why I play 2 of those, because you want to get those effects out as much as possible. Agent of Mystery Earth, 3 of these guys. Level 2 tuner, but he's also like the Stratos for the deck, because when you normal summon him, you can search out any agent card, and then on top of that, if Sanctuary is on the field, you can search Master Hyperion. So this guy ends up being extremely good. Then we got 3 Agent of Jupiter. Now this card, 1800 beat stick first of all. And then second of all, has 2 effects. One is okay, the other one's great. The first effect is that you can remove from play 1 light fairy type, and 1 light fairy type on a field that you control gains 800, essentially making him 2600. That's awesome. Now, the other effect is even better than that one, which is you can ditch 1 light fairy from your hand to the grave and special summon 1 of your removed from play light fairy type monsters. So Master Hyperion, if he happens to be removed from play somehow, you use like cards from the sky on him or something like that, or he gets bottomless or whatever the case may be, you can actually bring him back really easy. He doesn't have any limitations to how he can be special summoned. His effect to be special summoned is just one of the ways, so he can be brought back pretty much anything. If you have Honest removed from play, you can bring Honest back to the field, bring it back to your hand. It's just awesome. So you played 3 of those. Next, Meltiel, Sage of the Sky, played 3 of those. Now this is counter fairy, so you gotta play this guy and play it at 3. 1600 attack. Every time a counter trap's activated and Sanctuary is on the field, you get to destroy 1 card your opponent controls, and you gain 1000 life points. This is huge, especially when you're playing Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warnings. You're going to want to gain that life points back, and this guy is going to help you plus all day. So 3 Meltiels, 3 Bountiful Artemis. Now, of course, when you're playing counter fairies, you got to play Bountiful, you got to play Meltiel. Those are your 2 main guys. This guy right here, 1600 attack, 1700 defense. The defense is pretty high actually, and when this guy's on the field and you activate a counter trap, you get to draw cards. So essentially, since you're going to be playing mostly counter traps, you're going to get to draw a lot of cards, and it's going to plus you all day. So pluses win the game, guys. 2 Zeratius. I do play Sanctuary in the Sky, so I love playing this guy. Ditch him, get Sanctuary in my hand, and if Sanctuary is on the field, I can just summon a 2100 beat stick for free. So that's really good. And of course, 1 Honest. You're playing all light fairies, so you gotta play Honest. Now, we go into the spells. I played 3 Sanctuary in the Sky. Some people might only play 2. I don't like 2. It's because of the counter trap Divine Punishment. But I'll talk about that when I get to it. 3 Sanctuary. you gotta play 3. It's just too good in the deck. There's other decks that use a lot of field spells. They got that Miracle deck using Fusion Gate and Gravekeepers, Dragoonities. Too many decks playing field spells. So you gotta run 3 Sanctuaries. Draw power time. We got 3 cards from the sky and 2 Pot of Duality. This is the reason why both of these in the deck end up being really, really good. They both say that, you can't special summon during the turn. So if you activate one, right, you can activate the other one during the same turn, and you're not going to special summon anyway, so you don't feel too, obligated to only play one. And with this, you can't conduct your battle phase, and of course with this, you can't activate more than one Pot of Duality, blah blah blah. But this is, the majority. This is how you're gonna draw cards. The draw power for this is really, really good. Staples, Monsterborn, Dark Hole, and Giant Trunade. Notice that I'm not playing MST because MST is a 1-for-1, and while that card is a staple in like every deck, it's not a staple in this deck because this deck pluses way more if I don't play that. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now we're going to go on to the traps. First trap, Mirror Force. This is obviously such a good card. This is the only normal trap I play in the deck. A lot of people might not like that, but this is how I've been playing it, and this is how it works, and this is what's going to net me the most pluses. Now, I played 3 Divine Punishments. This is why I have to play 3 Sanctuary in the Sky, because you can only activate this when you have Sanctuary on the field, and this is your Infernity Barrier. This pretty much is going to negate the activation of a spell, trap, or monster effect and destroy that card. So in order to play this card, you gotta have Sanctuary in the field. So you always gotta have Sanctuary up there. That's why I played 3. And 3 Divine Punishments. Without 3 Sanctuaries, this card will end up being dead sometimes. You don't want to have dead cards in your hand or on the field. That's why you gotta play the way I'm playing it. 2 Solemn Warnings. This is pretty obvious for the counter trap for the deck. So you obviously gonna play that. 1 Solemn Judgment. Same thing. Very obvious. 7 Tools. This will definitely help your opponent get over your opponent's stuff, and also another reason why we don't need the MSTs in the deck. Double Dark Bribe. I love sitting behind Dark Bribe, especially a second turn. I got a Dark Bribe on the field, and then I want to bring Master Hyperion on the field. I'm sitting behind a Dark Bribe, so I feel pretty safe with that. And you guys don't have to worry too much about the +1 that your opponent gets from the Dark Bribe. I don't worry about it because they're going to end up nagging a lot from this deck, or you're going to plus too much. Now, the last counter trap I play, Drastic Drop Off. If you guys don't know what this counter trap does, this is the card right here. If you guys don't know what this counter trap does, basically you can set this, and when your opponent draws a card, whether it be during their draw phase or if they play a draw card, you can chain this, and then they have to discard the card or cards that they drew. So essentially, first turn, you set up your field, you put Bountiful on the field, and you set this. They draw a card, bam, you hit them with Drastic Drop Off. They have to discard the card they drew, and now they have to start their first turn with just 5 cards. While Bountiful is on the field, because you played a counter trap, now you get to draw a card. So essentially, they -1 and you +1. You can't get any better than that. Pluses wins games, guys. Just remember that. Alright, now we're going to go into the side deck. We got double Cyber Dragon, double Veiler, and Veiler is really good. You can always put that in second game. 1 Puppet Plant. So that rounds out the monsters. Now, I do side deck the 2 MSTs, so they're there in case I need them. Heavy, trap heavy decks like Gravekeeper or Miracle, Gemini. You can use those Noblemans, get rid of those spies, Rykos, especially with those Tengu Synchro, Tengu Plant decks. Chain Disappearance, same thing. Royal Oppression. Now you guys are probably wondering, why is he not main decking Oppression? I did main deck Oppression before, but even though it's at 1, I still ended up drawing it first turn. I set it, and then next thing you know, I end up activating it like second turn or something because my opponent's about to make a big play. And then what ends up happening is now I can't play Master Hyperion, period. So I ended up taking it out and it worked out pretty good depending on what you're playing against. Like if I'm playing Tengu plants, I'm definitely going to put Royal Oppression in, so you side deck accordingly. One return from a different dimension. Now if you guys saw the last YCS, they did the guy who won, he was playing Ally Salvo, and that basically is like when it gets destroyed and sent to the grave, you can remove from play 2 light monsters or something like that. Well, people are gonna decide to start trying to play that card and trying to remove from play, play Light Mirror and all this other crap. So I can just return from different dimension all the stuff that I remove and that they remove, and then just go off like that. So that's why this card's really good. And the last card for the side deck, 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and this card is so good right now. You guys have to start playing this. First of all, you know the effect. You ditch a card, they put a card on top of their deck. And of course you can ditch fairy monsters in this deck if you have them in your hand. And with Tengu now, Tengu, anytime he leaves the field, he gets his effect. You get to get another one from your deck, except if you put him back in the deck, because that doesn't count. So now, with Phoenix Wing Blast being able to stop Reborn Tengu, this is going to be a major side deck card. So I'm definitely going to be siding this in because a lot of people are playing Reborn Tengu right now. Now, we go on to the extra deck. We got Catastor, Bryonic, Gaionite, Flammable Urquizus, Ancient Fairy, Black Rose, double Chimera Tech, double Stardust, Scrap Dragon, Thought Ruler, Light End because you play light monsters, so you can get that, Colossal, and 1 Trishula. Now, if you notice, there's only 3 tuners in the deck. They're all level 2, so some of these are going to be a little hard to get without Monster Reborning something of your opponent's. And also, if you notice, the majority of them are level 6s and level 8s. And that's because you play in the deck mostly level 4s and the tuner's level 2. So you're going to most likely get level 6s. And then if you get the tuner again afterward, you're going to get a level 8. So that's what you got to play in the deck. So basically, that is my counter fairy agent or counter agent deck. And that's deck of the month for July 2011. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, hit that like button so other people can see this video. And yeah, that's about it. Until next time, YouTube, peace.